Hey everybody, I am Jesse Dollemore, and this is The Conversation, brought to you by the twice-weekly podcast on iTunes and Google called I Doubt It with Dollemore. Go check us out over there. Well, the ridiculous alt-right, angry at everything with slightly darker skin than she has is at it again. This time, Tomi Lahren is feigning the moral high ground to scold the protesters who are sending a message to Donald Trump by utilizing their constitutionally protected rights under the First Amendment.
Time for final thoughts. Half of the country is angry right now. I get it. But before we start calling the reaction a protest, let's get something straight. A protest is a peaceful objection to a grievance. A bunch of sore losers occupying a space is called a tantrum, and that's exactly what we're seeing around the nation after Trump's historic and earned victory.
Come on, Tommy. I shouldn't have to break out the dictionary every other time we're together like this. You don't get to redefine words so they fit your tight, stupid little hate-fueled narrative. The word protest is defined as an event at which people gather together to show strong disapproval about something. Look, we can disagree with their methods, but we can't completely discount how they're feeling right now. And you certainly don't have the maturity, intelligence, or respect for them or for yourself to be doling out smug advice. And then there's your stupid little aside at the end there, Donald Trump's historic and earned victory. Earned, Tommy? I don't even want to get into how uninformed that is.
And isn't it ironic the same people who condemned Trump and Trump supporters for intolerance and closed-mindedness are now angry and downright hostile because their candidate lost? Listen, if y'all wanted her to win so badly, you should have had that kind of enthusiasm before Tuesday night, but you didn't, and that's how it goes.
Okay, well, I guess you're going to drag me into this. First off, enthusiasm was down all across the board for both parties. About 1 million fewer people voted for Donald Trump than for the terrible candidate from 2012, Mitt Romney. Trump couldn't even get close to the same number of votes as a guy he repeatedly called a choke artist during the campaign. Secondly, not only did Donald Trump not get as many votes as Romney, he didn't even get as many as Hillary Clinton this election. So you can talk about an historic and earned victory all you want. Donald Trump is a hateful racist who was rejected by the majority of the American electorate. Facts, Tommy. You should check them out sometime. They're pretty awesome.
It's funny because these same people laughed at Trump supporters for fearing a rigged election. But here's the deal. Don't forget, it's the Republican Party that suffers because of voter fraud, and it's Republican leaders who fight for voter ID laws. Just saying.
Just saying? Are you just saying, Tommy? Well, please allow me to just say a couple things. Again, facts to refute your ignorance or lies. You know, I still can't figure out whether you're spoon-fed the stupidity you repeat or you're a liar who is intentionally misleading your low-information audience. Either way, here are facts. Voter fraud not only doesn't affect the Republican Party, it affects virtually no one. Loyola University Law School recently conducted a comprehensive study about voter fraud and found that 31 instances of legitimate voter fraud took place. Now, that may sound like a lot until you consider that it was 31 instances out of a total 1 billion votes cast. That's 1,000 million votes. So as a matter of record, voter fraud is a total red herring. As far as voter ID is concerned, you know, I used to believe what you believe. Why should showing an ID at the polls matter to anyone? Well, I changed my mind on the issue only recently after hearing several different Republican Party officials admit that, with their voter ID laws, they are trying to suppress the Democratic vote.
So be it. If it hurts a bunch of lazy blacks that wants the government to give them everything, so be it.
Voter ID, which is going to allow Governor Romney to win the state of Pennsylvania. Done.
Well, I think Hillary Clinton is about the weakest candidate the Democrats have ever put up. And now we have photo ID, and I think photo ID is going to make a little bit of a difference as well.
He won. He beat McCain by 10%. He only beat Romney by 5%. I think that probably photo ID had helped a bit in that.
So by supporting voter ID laws, you're nothing more than a shill for your new sickening Republican Party, and you are an enemy to free and fair elections.
Furthermore, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we experienced mass protests after Obama won in 2008 or 2012. No riots or mass tantrums televised for the world to see. Why? Two reasons. I guess Republicans lose with grace, and second, most aren't afforded time in the middle of a work week to congregate and throw a fit because they have to work. We have to work so you can protest the man while benefiting from the entitlements the man affords you. So there's that.
It seems to me a little more than implicitly racist to assume that all of these protesters, many of them Black and Latino, are on welfare or public assistance in general. Your wildly venomous assertion that the streets are filled with lazy moochers and the leeching unemployed is just like your little show. Unfounded propaganda. Also, tell me more with a straight face about how Republicans lose with grace and how they don't have time to protest. You should be embarrassed, Tomi. Or at the least, if you had any shame at all, you'd be embarrassed. I'm talking just a little slower now so that you're sure to understand me. And so everyone will have time to see all of these photos with all of these noble Republicans losing with grace, not protesting. This is, again, more evidence that you're either wildly uninformed or trying to twist the facts.
These protesters are typical snowflake millennials. They feel slighted because they didn't want Trump to win, and it's not fair. They wanted Hillary, so it just should have happened. The entitlement mentality on steroids mixed with a new version of social justice, a version where anything the left does is just and everything else is intolerant. But one of the criticisms and backhanded insults tossed around by the mainstream to explain Trump's win was uneducated voters. Yeah, those without a college degree. Somehow a piece of paper has now become the standard for intelligence and the new bar for an educated voter.
No, Tomi, the piece of paper isn't a metric for intelligence. No one says that. It's a metric for a specific level of education. It's also a measure for expected outcomes related to lifetime earnings in the workforce, which is strange that your new flavor of Republican Party isn't trying to help more people get that piece of paper.
Well, let's take a look at some educated voters. Attending college does not make one smarter, classier, or anything else.
Wow. Well, Tomi, we finally agree on something. A college degree doesn't make you smarter or classier. You're a living embodiment of that very theory.
I'm really tired of those on the right and left talking down to Trump supporters like we're dum-dums. Some of us have degrees, some of us don't, but most of us are hardworking people that have built businesses, families, served our country, and followed the law. If you think that makes us any less than you, you're dead wrong. But it's no longer Trump supporters versus Hillary supporters. That's over. That ended Tuesday night. President-elect Donald Trump has opened his arms to all Americans, so it's up to you now.
President-elect Trump has opened his arms to all Americans. Are you joking or lying or stupid or high or some hilarious combination? Donald Trump has hated and insulted and divided his way through the past 18 months. Or do you not remember him saying John McCain wasn't a war hero because he was captured and tortured for 6 years? Or making fun of a handicapped reporter? Or denigrating the parents of a soldier killed in combat? Or calling Mexicans rapists? Or wanting to ban Muslims from entering the country? Or saying he'd like to punch in the face people who disagree with him at rallies? Or that an American judge couldn't do his job properly based solely on his Mexican heritage? And many, many, many more. You must have forgotten those things when you said Donald Trump has opened his arms to us, right?
No one is asking you to bow at his feet, but your protests and tantrums aren't doing anything for this country. You have every right to do it, but you're just kind of making fools of yourselves at this point, and that's up to you.
Making fools of themselves, Tomi? Listen, alt-right princess. At the very least, protesters are sending a message to your orange-faced Führer that he has a lot of work ahead of him to clean up the mess that he's made for himself and the country by aggressively dividing our nation. He can't just lead those who are desperate to drag us back to the dark days of intolerance, prejudice, bigotry, and discrimination. If he is going to lead with the support of the American people, he's the one who must put in the work of earning the trust of the entire country. Now, let's all hope the damage isn't already irreparable. Hey, if you're really a glutton for punishment and you want some more of this, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks a lot.